And what I want to know, what we want to know, is what did Marjorie Taylor Greene know before that announcement happened? And what stocks did she and her family trade leading up to that announcement?
There's an old saying, buy low, sell high. And of course, the secret to that is, as Kenny Rogers said, you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. And to that metaphor, I add, if you were playing in a card game for money with strangers and you cheated, what would happen to you?
I know what you're thinking.
Something like that. But today, in the Republican Party, there is no Dirty Harry protecting Americans from grift like this.
We need every voter. I don't care about you. I just want your vote. I don't care.
Or this.
Frolicking about on stage like a child on Sugar Rush.
Or even this.
It's a story that if you were actually to write this in a book, honestly, I probably would quit reading the book because it's so unbelievable.
Yeah, Georgia's contribution to family inbreeding, Marjorie Taylor Greene, a.k.a. Dairy Queen.
And you think gas prices are high now? Just wait until you're forced to drive an electric vehicle.
Made a series of seemingly bold stock buys last week, exactly as the markets were cratering under Fat Donnie's tariff threats. Now, Dairy Queen, as I'm sure you know, loves the diapered one.
MAGA cannot be ignored.
Indictable.
And Fat Donnie, he caused the market to drop close to 5,000 points. At one point, more than a 10% drop after announcing his insane tariffs against Canada, Mexico, and 24 other countries, including China. Now, everyone knew this was an opportunity for people with a less than gold standard reputation to cheat and make millions, maybe billions, by knowing when Trump would back off his tariffs and send the market surging forward. And even when Trump tweeted today would be a good day to buy, orders to purchase stocks that were, as I mentioned, incredibly undervalued had already been made. And that would be the biggest coincidence of all time, or a federal crime.
Some people made an incredible amount of money today. Some of the big movers included United Airlines, Kohl's, Tesla, Trump Media, Apple Computer. And all you had to do to get in on the fun was listen to Trump himself. He wrote on Truth Social just minutes after the market opened, "This is a great time to buy," 3 exclamation points. Hours later, he announced a temporary pause on tariffs. The market soared, best day point-wise in history. The question is, how many other people listen to Trump? I'm not talking about people, random people. I'm talking about the people who knew what he was going to do, who knew the plan.
Over the last few days, I've been thinking about it. I've been dealing with Scott, with Howard, with some other people that are very professional. And I think it probably came together early this morning, fairly early this morning. Just wrote it up.
And right before the announcement, there were some big bets made in the stock market that the announcement would happen. And if those people knew what Trump was going to do, that would be insider trading, unfair, illegal, and wrong. So there's either two things going on. Trump is enforcing the strictest ethics rules ever, and there was no shenanigans, or there's a lot of insider trading. And to state the obvious, Donald Trump's relationship with ethics is casual.
Given what the government's been doing and this administration's been doing, it would not shock me, and I hate to speculate, if we were to find out that a whole bunch of people who work in Washington as our elected leaders, one way or the other, ultimately sold stocks last week, or potentially worse than that, shorted the market.
So this human Waffle House scooped up some of the market's worst hit companies like Dell, Amazon, Lululemon, all of which were down 40% when she bought in. So how did she know when to sell stocks and when to buy them? Was it her market savvy or her laser-like insight into the market's complex algorithms? Or maybe it was like how a cow knows it's going to rain before we do. It's unclear how much Greene purchased, but the timing is working out so far, according to investigators.
Democrats on Capitol Hill now questioning whether Trump engaged in insider trading. Hours before announcing the pause, Trump writing on social media, it was a great time to buy. Stocks then skyrocketing after the tariffs were put on hold. The president's top official on trade grilled about possible market manipulation.
How is this not market manipulation?
It's not market manipulation, sir.
Well, then what is it? Because it sure is not a strategy.
We're trying to reset the global trade system.
If it's not market manipulation, what is it? Who's benefiting? What billionaire just got richer?
Okay, here's how Daisy Cracker Barrel made a lot of money, suspiciously. Dairy Queen purchased Restoration Hardware stock, which was down 40%. She never owned this stock before. She doesn't have a financial advisor. But hours before Trump bloviated his announcement about pausing the tariffs, Miss Piggy dove headfirst into a stock she couldn't even explain what they did or made. But here's the quandary. Who in the administration cares? No one. Because honestly, do you think for a moment that Pam Bondi, this Barbie gnome, will subpoena the president to testify? Or some Democrat in Congress can push back against yet another con?
I'm writing to the White House to demand who knew in advance that the president was going to once again flip-flop on tariffs. And are people cashing in? There is just all too much opportunity for people in the White House and the administration to be insider trading. An administration that has their own meme coins and is already engaged in self-interested dealing when Elon is doging agencies that are doing oversight of his own businesses. In that kind of corrupt climate, you have to assume the worst, and we're going to try to find out.
Look, insider trading happens every day on Wall Street. Remember this?
There's a circumstantial case that they're building around Martha Stewart. How difficult is it to prove that?
Well, right now, the government doesn't have much of a case against her. The government has a lot of interesting evidence. She is trading right before the stock falls. She's trading on the same day that Dr. Waxall is attempting to trade, on the same day that Dr. Waxall's daughter is trading, the same day Dr. Waxall's father is trading. And then her broker, based on the reports, appears to have pressured the sales assistant to try and concoct a justification for those trades. That's suspicious.
Following a 6-week trial in early 2004, Stewart was found guilty of conspiracy, obstruction, and 2 counts of lying to federal investigators. So Martha Stewart served 5 months in a federal prison after being convicted of lying to federal investigators about trading on a stock with inside information. She was released in March of 2005, then served 5 more months of home confinement. But trading on inside information in the private sector is different than what happened here. And you can make this assumption quite easily. Trump purposely dumped the market by announcing his tariffs. Some blue chip stocks fell by 40%, and then friends of his like Charles Schwab and Dairy Queen were found to have sold stocks before the tariff announcement and then purchased them at rock bottom prices before Trump paused the tariffs, and the market had a one-day record jump. That's not a coincidence any more than finding the gun still smoking in the hand of the suspect. But while Martha Stewart's actions were minuscule in comparison, she was cheating for thousands. Trump manipulated over $11 trillion and threatened the world's economy.
And what I want to know, what we want to know, is what did Marjorie Taylor Greene know?
And it's a crime, because if people cheat at trading, the whole thing is suspect. But none of this matters because we've entered into an unparalleled world of grift. Remember this. Trump is not only the mastermind of 6 bankruptcies, including a casino, which is impossible to bankrupt unless you're skimming, but he also ripped off students at Trump University, which he would have been prosecuted for, but then Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi dropped the case after Trump donated $25 grand to her campaign. And of course, Trump is never again allowed to run a charity after he ripped off his own charity, a charity for kids with cancer. What does it take? But are you surprised in the least?
Oh, hell no!
Dairy Queen is a backwoods hillbilly redneck who is dumber than a bag of hammers. But like most grifters, she knows how to make the right friends. So what now? Well, what the Democrats need is a good memory, because these shitbirds will only get worse. And maybe the Democrats also need their own Dirty Harry.
Go ahead. Make my day.
I'm okay with that.
Goddamn right.
Terrorizing our communities
are your leaders. Incompetent, unqualified people compromising national security.
Yes! 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 Elon!
They're eating the dogs. They had what? Bloated and fat and disgusting.
I like that.
We're a nation that speaks English.
Back and look, if something like that thing start goggling.
I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Am I wrong?
Yes!
Tick-tock!
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.